Now let's welcome to the show former acting U.S. Attorney General Matt Whitaker to talk more about this Trump indictment. Matt, great to see you. Thank you for being here. I just want to read to you what the Wall Street Journal said about this night, because you have both the Attorney General and the President claiming that the special investigative special counsel is all on his own in this, no interference. But here's what the Journal says. Mr. Garland, who reports to Mr. Biden, has the authority to override a special counsel's recommendation. Americans will inevitably see this as a Garland-Biden indictment, and they are right to think so. Do you agree?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If you think about the way the Department of Justice is structured, all the police powers and really all the powers of the Department of Justice emanate from the president and the executive under the Constitution. And, you know, Merrick Garland just today tried to suggest that Jack Smith was an independent prosecutor, but that's just not the way the regulations are written. The regulations make it very clear that this special prosecutor, Jack Smith, is accountable to Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland is the one that appointed him. The only thing that makes him slightly less like a U.S. attorney, for example, is that it takes like 4 cause to get rid of them. But like the decision making and all that is ultimately has to be approved by the Attorney General.
And I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but there's a special counsel is very different from an independent counsel. The independent counsel can do on his own, without interference by the Attorney General, what he sees fit. Not so with a special counsel, in which the Attorney General can really override what he has to say or what decision he's made, correct?
Yeah, the independent counsel statute expired. And so in response to that, the Department of Justice, instead of allowing Congress to attempt to put another independent counsel statute in place, passed some regulations. But again, it is just derivative power from the Attorney General and the President ultimately.
And then we're going to talk about this a little more in the next segment, but I just want to ask you about this. What former President Trump said last night about using the Espionage Act to indict him. Roll tape.
Threatening me with 400 years in prison for possessing my own presidential papers, which just about every other president has done, is one of the most outrageous and vicious legal theories ever put forward in an American court of law. The Espionage Act has been used to go after traitors and spies. It has nothing to do with a former president legally keeping his own documents. As president.
Now, I know we're hearing a lot, Matt, about this conversation the president had with a journalist where he waved a piece of paper and said, you know, this is a secret document that I actually didn't declassify, et cetera. But is there anything that sounds like or feels like or smells like espionage in what the President Trump did?
No, and I actually, you know, this case, because there wasn't any attempt to leak these materials or otherwise, you know, benefit from them. This, you know, the pain that this is causing our country, David, I think is great. And to what end? I just don't, you know, the juice is not worth the squeeze in this case. But, you know, President Trump is absolutely right. The Presidential Records Act says all documents, all records of a president and his administration, you know, so essentially any document that passed through the president's hands are presidential records. And that act has a certain process, and it's different and exclusive, really, of the Espionage Act, which, you know, to me, that's going to be the biggest question here, David.
And then you have the question of what the world is seeing. And it's very important what the world sees in the way we operate here in the United States. The authority of the United States on the world stage is critical. They see a sitting president going after his chief rival in the next election. It looks for all the world like this is just twisting the justice system to get rid of a rival. I mean, that's not insignificant in this whole process, is it?
No, the deterioration of America's moral authority to lead the world and to try to be the shining city on the hill is significant. And in this case, there is no doubt that this is an administration going after their chief political rival.
Matt Whitaker, former Attorney General, acting Attorney General. Matt, great to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
So